People have it completely wrong when it comes to choosing a niche in private practice. Stay tuned for this video to find out why. Okay, so somewhere out there, people have started this rumor that you have to be extremely narrowly niched in order to have any success at all in private practice. Well, I'm here to tell you that we need to dig a bit deeper into this question, and it's just not that simple. The truth about niching down is that you just need to be niched down narrow enough to get results in your market. Well, what do I mean by this? For example, if you're living in small town Ohio, then having a niche as narrow as eating disorders for teenage boys, that niche just might not work or be the appropriate fit for your market. On the other hand, that niche might be a very good fit for a market like New York City or downtown Chicago. Your niche has to be the appropriate fit for the market that you're operating in. More often than not, therapists are choosing a niche that's entirely too narrow and is completely stifling the growth of their practice. Let me tell you an example really quick. I worked with one particular therapist who was living in a mid-sized city, and before working together, her niche was very narrow around introverted, creative people who want a holistic approach to therapy. Now, in theory, and based on what other people are saying online, this sounds really good, right? Very narrow, very focused. However, for someone to hit all three of those criteria and to find her in a search online, it just wasn't happening. So what do? Well, we broadened her niche just enough to focus on working with people who want a holistic approach to therapy. Now, within her practice and within her niche, people could be introverted, creative, etc. And what we did is basically we set up separate pages for this so that these specialties and these areas of focus actually still exist within the practice, but they're not the core, they're not within the core message and the core niche, excluding people unnecessarily. So we broadened her niche to be the right size for her market, just focusing on a holistic approach to therapy, and guess what happened? Her practice doubled. So what else about niche? Well, the other thing that people often don't realize is your niche has to be based on what people are actually searching for online. Let's face it, people find their next therapist online these days. Just like trying to find the best sushi restaurant in the area, they're trying to find the best therapist in the area using, guess what? My favorite website, Google. So if your niche isn't based, at least in part, on what people are searching online, you're really missing out and you're going to be really frustrated with your results. You might even be getting people to your website, but then you have people there saying no and leaving quickly from your website because your niche is too narrow and it's just not based on what people are searching at all. A quick and dirty way to start doing some keyword research is to actually open up a tab, go to Google, start typing in and pretend like you're doing a search for a therapist in your area. Now watch for the recommended searches that start popping up and suggesting different searches to you, because those are actually based on real searches. Want to take it one step further? I recommend Neil Patel's Uber Suggest tool for doing more basic keyword research. Just Google Uber Suggest by Neil Patel and you'll find that tool really quickly. Make sure your niche is actually based on what people are searching. You want that niche to have keywords that are searched moderate or often, and also have moderate or low competition. Uber Suggest is going to tell you all this and more. Finally, your niche really has to be something that's going to make you happy. This should be an area of practice that you actually really enjoy. If you haven't found what this is, then take your time, don't niche down too quickly, and just explore different ways of working together. It's okay being a generalist. In reality, niche is just one of many doors through which people can come into our home. A lot of times, the reasons that people choose us as their therapist are different from the reasons why people end up staying and doing more work with us. You have to realize there's many paths that you could choose for niche. On one hand, you could choose demographics, so teenage boys or teenage girls. On the other hand, you could choose your niche based on the kind of modality you practice, like psychodynamic or CBT or EMDR. And then of course you could choose a niche based on clinical issues like anxiety, trauma, anger, etc. Again, choose a niche that you can be happy with, and when in doubt, I suggest that you actually go a little broader than you think. If you're wondering if your niche is too narrow or too broad, well, set everything up on your website, gear your copy around the niche that you want to commit to, and then commit to that niche for the next 30 days and measure what happens. Now you want to look for a couple things here. You want to look at your Google Analytics and see how many unique visitors or unique users have come to your website in a 30-day period. And then out of those users, how many people actually reached out for a consult or a session? This is what I call your website conversion rate, and I teach that you should be aiming for at least 6%. If you're not getting at least 6%, you might have other issues around your copy, your buttons, the usability of your website, the aesthetic of your website, or of course, your niche. What's paramount here is that you just change one variable at a time, remeasure for 30 days, draw a conclusion from there, and then make your decision. You have to be really methodical when you're making these changes, or else you're not going to know, if you do get a result, what actually produced it. There you have it. Those are my thoughts on niche and how I think that a lot of people out there talking about niche are getting it completely wrong. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, enjoy the other free videos in this channel. If I can help you more in your private practice, just head to privatepracticeworkshop.com, and I look forward to seeing you really soon. Cheers.